With the arrival of Hell Wanted 2, several minigames featuring the animatronics from Security Breach were introduced, but also from Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator, and these are the ones we're going to focus on, to see the differences between the original games and Hell Wanted 2. So let's start in order. If we remember, on night 2 of Sister Location, there was a part where we had to cross a large room where Valora was, and let's say this part is fairly easy. Just stay still when the music gets loud and you'll be fine. Also, don't be alarmed when hand unit talks.
You are taking a long time.
In Hell Wanted 2, this really changes. Not only because we see Valora leave her stage, but also because it seems more likely that Valora will pass right in front of you. In Location, it only happens once, but here it becomes something common. Also, now we don't just have Valora's presence, but also her mini-arenas, so if you see one of them, run away. And of course, as if that wasn't enough, there's also a timer, so you can't stay still for too long if you want to win. Well, now if I had to choose one of them, I'd obviously pick version 2. Not just because they added the mini-arenas, and it actually makes perfect sense for them to be there, but also because the atmosphere is much more tense. I don't know if it's because of the hand movement mechanic, but I think you get a lot more desperate here. So in my opinion, Hell Wanted 2 in this minigame is way better than the one in Sister Location. Plus, here you actually have a good chance of hearing Valora sing. In the original game, after this part we had to reset 8 systems while keeping an eye on Funtime Freddy. If he got too close, we played a bonbon audio to calm him and send him back to his place. This is definitely a minigame that's a bit more complicated than the previous one, because while we have to bring up the monitor to finish faster, we also have to be careful not to ignore Funtime Freddy. Now, going back to Hell Wanted 2, this minigame is also here, under the name Switch Room. Here we could definitely say that there's been a radical change, since now we don't have a tablet, but instead, as the name suggests, we'll be surrounded by switches. Our mission is to charge each indicator we have on our right, and what do we do if Funtime Freddy gets close? Well, we grab the megaphone to play the same audio cues as in the original game.
Everything is fine, let's go back to sleep.
But now it's not that easy, since we have to aim directly at the animatronic, otherwise it simply won't go away. Initially, it seems easy. We grab the megaphone with one hand and pull the lever with the other. It starts off simple, but then indicators require pulling 2 levers at once, so we have to let go of the megaphone. This also means we have to figure out which lever charges which indicator, so we end up trying them all blindly. But that's not all, there's the same level, but harder. Why is it harder? Well, let me explain. To start, Funtime Freddy is no longer there, but Yendo is. Yes, the same one from Sister Location's Custom Night. In this minigame, he is more aggressive than Funtime Freddy, and harder to detect since, unlike Funtime Freddy whose eyes light up when we play the audio, Yendo's do not. Also, his color helps him blend in with the environment. Continuing with the comparison, I have to admit that in Hell Wanted 2 there's more difficulty overall. Even though we have 10 indicators to fill, 5 of them are easy, but the remaining 5 are a real challenge. We also need to find the animatronic to send him back. In Sister Location, you just lowered the camera and played the audio. Although, it might take you more time to fill each indicator if you want to make sure Funtime Freddy is in his place and doesn't come any closer. Even so, I still prefer Hell Wanted 2.
Good job. This completes your tasks for the night.
Returning to the original game, after the minigame and exiting Valora Gallery, we would have finished Night 2. When we move on to Night 3, we'll have to go through Funtime Foxy's gallery. It also got a makeover for Hell Wanted, but only for the first one, not for Hell Wanted 2, so we won't take that into account. Neither this one nor the part where we repair Funtime Freddy are included, since although it hasn't been faithfully remade, it's very similar to other animatronic repair minigames from the first Hell Wanted, which I already covered in a previous video. We also won't consider the 4th and 5th nights, as there are no remakes of those scenes, but there is one for the Ennard night and part of the custom nights. First of all, one change worth highlighting is the office itself, since its change is significant. In Sister Location, we could see 3 screens that mainly served as an Easter egg: a fan, a numeric keypad to enter 1983 a poster, and the vent. Let's say that's the most noteworthy thing about this office, but in Hell Wanted 2, now those 3 monitors have another function. 2 of them are used to view the cameras, and the other one to check the power. The vent takes up a huge amount of space, as does the tablet, so much so that the fan has to go on top of one of the monitors. Now, I don't really dislike this change. The office had to be made more compact to adapt to the mechanics of virtual reality, just like in the first Wanted, so it's a change for the better. Just imagine having to run from one side to the other, just to close a simple door. But now, let's get to the important part. Ennard's night, which is an alternate route to the true ending, is really hard to beat, seriously, and those who manage to do it would end up with very little or no power left. In Hell Wanted 2, this is lost. The night is very easy. Ennard even has an animation to give you time to react, and honestly, it's unnecessary. Needless to say, they nerfed Ennard. But let's say it's for a good reason. In that location, Ennard was the boss, the final boss. Here, on the other hand, he's just part of another minigame. I guess that's why they lowered the difficulty. Also, a fun fact is that in Sister Location, the night against Ennard lasts a total of 9 minutes, while in Hell Wanted 2, it only lasts 6 minutes. That's right, those 3 minutes really make a difference between suffering and having an easy time. Without a doubt, for this night, I prefer the original game. But don't worry, that's not all. We still have the 3 custom night alter egos left to see. The first minigame is called Puppet Master, where we have Ballora, the Minirinas, and Bidybabs active. Their mechanics are very similar to those in the original game. Both the Minilinas and the Bidybabs will have the chance to take away a Kia from us, so we'll have to give them a gentle and light electric shock. Also, with Ballora, we'll have to listen for the direction her music is coming from, just like in Sister Location. The good thing is that now we can see her, so it won't be such a big challenge. And finally, if we focus on the Minirinas, in Sister Location, they would get right in our face, and we couldn't avoid them or get rid of them, which made them really annoying. In GGW2 they're also annoying, since they get on top of the buttons. The good thing is that we could remove them and send them to hell, throw them out. The good thing is that we can remove them and send them out of the office. The Bidybab in ventilation is easier, since it has sound and everything. The second minigame is the Funtime Gang, which includes Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, and surprisingly Funtime Chica as well. Regarding the mechanics, Funtime Foxy hasn't changed much at all. When it leaves the stage, we just have to close the door, and that's it. Funtime Freddy also stays true to the original game, but it's easier now since we can see where Bonbon will come from. Still, we can also rely on Funtime Freddy's location and dialogues to guide us. Other than that, the new thing is that now Bonbon can come through the vent, and as for Funtime Chica, well, she has never appeared in Sister Location, only in Pizzeria Simulator and in the UCN. So she's completely new here, with a new mechanic that's related to Subcow Cake and basically making sure she never gets it. Now, the next minigame is very different from what we've seen so far. So I think just taking these 2 minigames I just mentioned as the only equivalents to Sister Location's custom night would be the right thing to do. Something worth noting is that in the minigames I described, we never see Bonnet or Yendo, although the latter might be because he already appears in another minigame, and well, so does Bonnet, but still, it's something worth mentioning. They're simply conspicuously absent. This and other changes make me doubt if I could choose between one or the other, because in Hell Wanted 2 they removed some things, yes, but they also added other things that are really good, so I leave it as a tie. For me, it's kind of a draw. Even so, we can't deny that the maximum difficulty in Sister Location doesn't compare at all to these nights we can find in Hell Wanted 2. Now, the last minigame related to Sister Location is the job interview one. Here, we'll have to perform different tasks as Circus Baby tells us. And I really love this last part because if you remember, in Sister Location the one who helps us the most is Circus Baby. She basically guides us most of the time, and the fact that they bring that back here in the minigame is a nice touch. Moving on, our first task will be to find and guide the plush babies, very much in the style of the first Help Wanted. For the second task, we'll do something like we did with the Minirinas and Bidybabs. Use the cameras to find the plush babies and shock them. And now, our third and final task is to stop the plush babies with the flashlight. We can't let them get close. Honestly, I have no idea how they expected us to finish this last task, but I shook the flashlight like crazy for a minute. That's it, thanks for the ice cream, Circus Baby. That being said, we're done with Sister Location. Now we just have Pizzeria Simulator left, although there aren't many minigames worth mentioning there either. Although it's clear that Help Wanted 2 is set in that game, or at least in the same location, and when we find out that we've always had the bunny mask and we take it off, that place changes drastically. Honestly, I didn't see that plot twist coming. It completely surprised me. Well done, Steel Wool. On the other hand, if we wanted to find minigames similar to Pizzeria Simulator, the only ones in my opinion would be the first aid ones. Basically, in these minigames, we have to heal and perform strange surgeries on Helpy, while we try to keep him from screaming or the TV from making noise, because this attracts unwanted animatronics, like Pig Patch, Lefty, and Scrap Baby. This all happens in a setting inspired by the office from Pizzeria Simulator. Honestly, these minigames are better than the nights in that game. In my opinion, the mechanics there are very limited. We have to watch, listen for animatronics, check dark vents, and complete tasks with a click. On the other hand, here we have to scan, heal, so to speak, and put Helpy to sleep. I won't lie, sometimes Helpy's scream can be really annoying. And sometimes that mask to put him to sleep won't fit correctly and you'll lose. Yeah, but honestly that's more exciting compared to what we did in Pixar and Simulator. I'm just talking about the nights, not the interviews or tycoon mode. To recap, Help Wanted 2 is inspired by both Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator. Obviously it has small, considerable and big differences depending on the minigame, but that doesn't represent Help Wanted. That's why the first one is one of my favorites. It brings a different way to play, but it's just as fun or even more fun than the original games. And if you add virtual reality to that, you get a very immersive video game. So it's strange to say whether Sister Location or Pizzeria Simulator is better than Help Wanted 2 or vice versa. It's not the same. They only share some mini-games and environments, which we can compare. But it's up to each person to decide which one is better or which they prefer. I've already shared mine in this video, so I invite you to leave yours in the comments. Also, check out the previous part of this video, where we focused on the first Help Wanted. Thank you very much for staying until the end. See you in the next video.